Alright, guys, so welcome to the Be Alpha Music Podcast. Make sure you're listening to the podcast and on YouTube. Be sure to rumble, to subscribe, and share our content. And also, if you're listening to the podcast in Anchor.fm, make sure that you share content with other people as well. I'm going to really appreciate it. This is the Be Alpha Music. I'm your host, Pablo Ruiz Vargas. Today's episode is 98. Right, so we are very close to the 100. I'm very proud, and I've been very consistent for the last couple of days. And for me, that's a great achievement since I struggle with that. I struggle with consistency, and having that consistency now being part of my daily life is showing a lot on what kind of person I am. Since I'm still struggling with being consistent. Even today, I struggle so much just to pull my stuff in. I have to change where I record because for some reason, it's hard for me to just press play and just start recording. So today's podcast title is going to be The Power of Reading a Book. For those people, let me just do a disclaimer regarding what I do, right? First of all, I'm a musician. I do music, and I still do music. And right now in my private life, and I don't want to talk about my upcoming projects because I don't want to just spend a lot of energy on that. But first of all, I'm a musician, but I'm also a self-development kind of guy. I like self-development. That's not something that I let's say I'm not expecting a lot of people to like it. If you don't like it, I understand. This is not your channel. If you like it, welcome to the channel, right? And for those people that are looking for something else, I'm not there for that, okay? If this is not your channel, you can just go to another channel and just look for what you're looking for. You don't like it, I understand. And for those people that like it, you're welcome. So let's go for the topic of today. Topic of the day: the power of reading a book. Power of reading a book. We know for some reason that there's some benefits to read a book, and a lot of people speculate about the benefit. A lot of people say it increases your IQ, and other people say that they don't have no effect on IQ. I really don't know. There's a two school of thought when it comes to this. I'm not a professional on this, but hopefully I can just give my 2 cents. And let's see what happens from there, right? So what I'm gonna do is just share some of the benefits of reading a book, and you can find this in Google. I mean, you can type this on Google. I think it's the first page right there that appears as soon as you type like what's the benefits of books or something like that, and you will get all these lists. But for now, I'm gonna give you my opinion on one of these lists, and let's see where we go from there. Okay, the first one, mental stimulation. Yeah, that's true. Have you ever noticed when you start reading a book and you haven't read for years, right? I'm not talking reading things that you like the news and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a book that you just picked, sit down and open. What happened when you start reading the first paragraph? You don't even understand what is going on in the first paragraph. You have to just read that paragraph a couple times. The reason is because in reality your brain is not being stimulated, right? Before you picking up that book, the stimulation was zero, right? So that means is as soon as you start using that muscle, right, for creativity and thinking and impulsing your imagination, you're basically having to deal with a dead muscle. Basically, it's like going to the gym, right? Because you use your legs to walk every day doesn't mean that you have strong legs, right? You're just using your legs because you need them. It's the same with your brain. Because you use your brain every day doesn't mean that your brain is being stimulated. So there's a huge mental stimulation. It hurts when you start using your brain, but it's a good indication. That means that you're growing, right? You're stretching, and it might just cause you to just sleep well because you're getting tired, or it might cause you just going a little bit, kooky because the simple fact is that you're starting to use that muscle, and you're not used to that. Okay, mental stimulation. Next one. What the hell? Stress reduction. Stress reduction. the reason it reduces stress is because you're using your mind to just distract yourself from your daily life and responsibilities. And in real life, yeah, you have problems, you have situations, you have things that you need to achieve, right? But you have those 30 minutes, right, or 20 minutes of just trying to just get through something, right, and relax and just enjoy your imagination, right? And that means that you're starting to just knowing more your brain, right? So your brain start being, you and him one, okay? You start reading, you start connecting your ideas, right, with your brain, and so you're having that connection. So you start now, right, to understand how that mechanism works, okay? So every time that you have stress, pick up a book, start reading, and you will see how things come down. And most importantly, behind the scene is because you're breathing a lot, right? You're breathing correctly. Even when you finish the page, you're having that deep breathe. And for me, that's my case, right? I get deep breathe every time that I go from different pages, just to get like a rest. But you don't notice this every time you get those deep breathe or breath, right? You're having stress reduction, okay? Third one, obviously, knowledge, okay? Every time you read something, you're getting knowledge, you're getting information. You have to think about, how do we get here? We got here because people read a lot, right? Read a lot and apply a lot. Read a lot and apply a lot, right? Reading a lot. There's a reason why in the 19th century, people that were, SLAVE back in the day, right? They didn't allow them to read. It's because the more they read, they will have a free mind, right? And that doesn't go only for the 19th century. That this goes back in the day, right? Anyone that has, even society, let's put it this way, society don't want you to be free, for therefore they just distract you for things, right? They don't want you to pick up a book. They just want you to be distracted with things that doesn't matter, right? Don't matter a bit. Books give you knowledge. Books give you understanding of things that you never thought about, okay? And I'm gonna discuss all the benefits that are very important besides knowledge, that are very beneficial when you read a book. 4, vocabulary expansion, right? You expanding your vocabulary, and there's an exercise for this. All right, the exercise is, and I learned this from a friend, is basically you take a book, right? A book, boom, and you open a dictionary. You read, and when you don't understand a word, you don't just skip over. You stop, look at the dictionary, open the dictionary, look at the definition of that book, and then you put that definition in context with what you just read. And that is true for an IQ exercise, right? Because remember, the way you increase an IQ is connecting, right, ideas with other, and that way the brain can just travel faster, and your analytical process is quicker, right? That's why geniuses have a higher IQ, because the way they connect ideas is faster than just regular people. So with this kind of exercise, vocabulary expansion, where you start noticing new words, you start looking at those words in dictionaries, and you start connecting those words with the context. Now all of a sudden you're just having some new bullet to your arsenal. So that's how you expand your vocabulary. Of course, it's beneficial as well. Next one, memory improvement. Now, it does improve your memory. It doesn't mean that it improves your memory retention, right? That's another exercise. Memory retention, you have to sit down and just memorize things like crazy. But memory improvement, in the case of when you want to remember something, right, it's quicker. You do it quicker instead of just going like, hey, what was it again? For 3 hours you don't even remember. Remember, there's a mental stimulation. Therefore, memory improvement come into place. But that doesn't mean that you just memorize the entire book at once and you just get better. No. It means that your memory will be clear from having problems of memory default, right? So now you're getting better. Now you can just get the ideas quicker, right? And that means that you, of course, you can, remember certain things faster and clearer instead of just having a foggy mind. Okay. Next one. Stronger analytical thinking skill. Stronger analytical thinking skill. And this, of course, goes with the school of IQ. Right? The more you read, right, there's a stronger stimulation, but here is where your IQ gets better. Your IQ gets better, of course, because you connect ideas, right? And your brain, of course, travel faster, right? It's not the same as someone that has a lower IQ, right, than a higher IQ person, because lower IQ tends to have a higher probability of difficulty, right, to travel from one idea to the other, versus the average or higher IQ person, where their travel through ideas is faster. And the reason is because you have to think it like this. There's people that are built, right, muscle built than others. We all can get to that spot where we all look good, but for some people they have to just work a little bit harder than others, right? That means if you have family genetics where you kind of flop, you have a very weak body, but there's some people by genetic they have a stronger body. Those people that have a stronger body by nature, is going to be easier for them to just achieve certain body, right? For those people that do not have that advantage, it will take longer. It's the same with this, right? So for people that average, in my case an average body, it will take us a little bit longer to just get to that beach body or good looking body. But the thing is that with that comes something called character or discipline, which is our good skills as well. So now you go through the process, and the thing is that now that you're going through the process from, compared with those people that already have some of that process there as nature, is that you can now teach that process easily, right? And now you can just teach other people how to have that strong analytical skill, right? And it's not over for them, okay? You can tell them, hey, listen, Johnny, the way I got from X and Y, but I was an A, I was not even close, is that I did this, and this, right? And you can get it there, right? And they will say, oh, but man, you don't look like that. You look like you were born like this. You will say, no. I was not born like this. I just got from point A from point B, and I managed to do it doing this, and that, right? Okay. That's the advantage of just reading books. It just developed like a stronger analytical thinking, no matter what area in your life you are. You can if you're in B, you need to get a C. There's still a process. So you were in A, there's still a process, right? You were in a number, there's still a process you can get there. And the way you can get there is reading a book. Next one. Improve focus and concentration. It's very true. I lack a concentration myself. I lack a focus as well. And reading has helped me so much, where I can just read something, understand it, what is that the author wanted to imply, which before it was harder. Let me say as well, I'm a classical musician, right? So there's some help there as well. I had to think, I had to do all these things. They take a little bit a time, but it helps the process. But reading has really improved the way I just focus and concentrate on things like nothing else. The fact that I had to sit, the fact that I had to just concentrate, read whatever is going on, and force myself to finish. There's a great book called Slight Age, and one of the ideas of the Slight Age is that you have to think of reading a book like sentence, right? Like every time that you read 10 pages, that's 1 cent. And that 1 cent is just basically 1 cent that you put in a stock, okay? Now you just let that stock be sit out there for years, and then by the time you finish in a couple of years, that cent has just been transformed, in thousands of dollars, right? So that really helped me to understand the importance of sitting down and just go through a couple pages, right? Think it as cents. You put in those cents in a bank and you just let it grow. Let it grow. That's just you being focused and concentrating to just read those couple pages, okay? Next one and last one, better writing skills. Better writing skills for the fact is that now you have the concentration, now you have the focus, and now you can just write carefully, right? In my case, I have improved my reading. I used to just have like what my student used to call chicken scratch. So I would just go crazy and start just going around crazy, and they will not understand. And even myself, I would not understand what I was writing. But reading has just improved my patience, most importantly, and motor skill, right? To really write things now beautifully and concise that I can even understand in others. Others can enjoy and understand, right? So the better writing skills go with the vocabulary expansion, and from the vocabulary expansions go with the strong analytical thinking skills and the mental stimulation. So all these go interconnected, where now you're having a better number of IQ, you have a better expansion of your motor skills, and more importantly, you can even have conversations with people not using vague language, right? And you can understand. Let me just give you an example of vague language. Vague language will be saying, you know what I'm saying, or you know what I mean. I'm like too much, saying certain words repeatedly, where you already have an arsenal but you don't know how to use it. For example, I'm a Spanish speaker by nature, right? I come from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. Now transferring to the language, even though I took classes for English all my life, never used them. But the more I read, the more I wrote, right? It stimulates my brain to just use all the resources that I have in the past, right, and put into practice. See, without using vague language. Okay, it sometimes it take a little bit of time for me to just get the ideas through, but sometimes like today, I feel like I'm more into momentum thinking, right? So I can just get through my ideas quicker and faster to you guys. I think this is a good list. Again, I'm not a professional at this. You can just Google this, type it, and you will have a list. I just took that list from there and just have my idea and my opinion on top of them. I think it would just help some of you guys that are starting to subscribe and just be part of this community. Yeah, this was episode number 98. I'm very happy. I'm getting to the 100. I'm getting to the 100. This was the power of reading a book. This was your host, Pablo Ruiz Vargas. Make sure that you like and subscribe and just share the content. I would really appreciate it. You don't like it in video, you can just listen to the podcast on Anchor.fm or Spotify and other streaming music or streaming podcast platform, even Apple Podcasts and iTunes, all that stuff. With this is your host, Pablo Ruiz Vargas, and I'm out.